Hi everybody, this is the Patriot, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion. Your host, hi, welcome back to the Patriot. I don't believe you like this video. Hit that subscribe button. So I did a live stream last night. We did a rather deep dive in an article from 2005 talking about George H.W. Bush, the 42nd president of the United States, and his role, if there was any, in Dallas of 1963. And we found out a lot of stuff. One thing we learned was that, now he had said he'd been working for the CIA in 1967. But that's not true. He had been working for the CIA since 1961. He was also probably the handler of the Cubans that he was recruiting in Miami that went into the Bay of Pigs, and that was a massive failure for the Kennedy administration. Now, a lot of stuff about George H.W. Bush, and that I would recommend you watch it. It is a long video, which I don't normally do here. I did a live stream for it. Now I have here, because this conspiracy, quote unquote, involves quite a few presidents, and the collateral damage to the presidency and to the country is still felt today. Because the belief is that it's going to come out that it was Lyndon Johnson who was the one that gave the final order to kill Kennedy, and that there was a domino effect, that other people were murdered, supposedly because they were witnesses. And then, of course, there was the cover-up that involved several agencies, the FBI, the CIA at the center of it. The Zapruder film identifies several different CIA agents. Also involves the Secret Service. There was a stand down. The famous Zapruder film shows only one Secret Service agent jumps onto the back of the car because the other Secret Service agent was told to stand down, which was the one that protected the president. Also involves, I would believe, parts of the Dallas police, and it possibly involved several other agencies, and obviously the executive branch. This was pretty massive. But it also involved future president Gerald Ford, who was on the Warren Commission, and they're the ones that came up with the lone gunman and the magic bullet. And the magic bullet takes prime center stage here in this video, because the belief is that that bullet not only hit Kennedy in the throat, but also hit Governor Connolly, who was sitting in front of him, the governor of Texas, in the motorcade. And they said things, but okay, let's get into it, because this is a very complicated thing. They muddy the waters so badly in this. But like I said, this had a domino effect throughout the whole government and really the history of this country. So, but this we're going to focus on Gerald Ford's actions, because he basically tampered with evidence when he was a junior congressman in 1964. Now, this article is from Deseret.com. And this article was written in 1997, almost 30 years ago. This article was written, and Ford was still alive. Headline: Ford defenses changes in JFK report. Gerald R. Ford says he was doing nothing more than making a few changes in the interest of clarity and precision. Those who believe that John F. Kennedy was killed as part of a massive conspiracy see Ford's actions as not so innocent. What Ford did that summer of '64, when he was a member of the Warren Commission investigating the assassination of the president, was insert the words at the back of his neck, and a key sentence describing where a bullet struck Kennedy. The effect was to strengthen the commission's conclusion that a single bullet passed through Kennedy and severely wounded Texas Governor John Connolly, a finding crucial to his conclusion that Lee Harvey Oswald was the sole gunman. The belief is, according to them, is that bullet went through his neck and somehow lodged into the top of the leg of John Connally. Now, belief is, the conspiracy theory, and we're going to find out in a few weeks, that there were multiple shooters, and also that Kennedy was not shot in the neck. He was actually shot in the shoulder. So that's where we're going through this. Quote, my changes had nothing to do with a conspiracy theory, Ford said in Beaver Creek, Colorado, following the Revelation Wednesday. My changes were only an attempt to be more precise. Maybe so, but his editing is sure to strengthen the conviction within the conspiracy community that the Warren Commission altered facts to conform to its single assassin theory. Now, if he got hit in the neck, the sense is that the shot came from above at a very extreme angle, and that it went through his head and it went through his neck, and that there was a third bullet somewhere. But the first bullet went through his neck and hit Connally. That's what their assertion was. This, quote, this is the most significant lie in the whole Warren Commission report, said Robert D. Morningstar, a computer systems specialist in New York City, who said he has studied the assassination since it occurred and written an internet book about it. Now, the person that came up with the idea of the magic bullet was former Senator Arlen Specter, who was also on that commission and eventually became a senator and who was a lawyer at the time. So he was the one that came up with the magic bullet theory. But if the bullet had entered Kennedy in the back, he said, that would have made it unlikely that a single bullet could have gone through Kennedy and hit Connally where he was wounded. And that in turn would have strengthened the theory that Kennedy was the victim of a conspiracy, not at the lone malcontent described by the Warren Commission. Now, Lee Harvey Oswald, when he was taken in by the police and the media was talking to him, he said he was a patsy. He said that. He had said that he was a patsy, that he had not been charged with any murder at all. And I think that he was killed because he had said he was a patsy and he was going to sing, because he had connections to the CIA, the FBI, he had a handler, and all this. Without Ford's alteration, Morningstar said, they could never have hoodwinked the public as to the true number of assassins. The Warren Commission concluded in 1964 that one bullet passed through Kennedy's body, wounded Connally, and that a second bullet tore through Kennedy's head, killing him. The assassination of the president occurred on November 22nd, 1963, in Dallas. I would mention, which I thought was kind of interesting, is that no president has gone down to Dallas, has gone down to Dealey Plaza since this happened. I would hope, once all this stuff is settled finally, that President Trump goes there and does a commemoration for him, and does something there for him, Mr. President, to lay everything to rest. I think that would be very nice to see that. Oswald was arrested that day, but was shot and killed 2 days later as he was being transferred from the city jail to the county jail, which he was killed by Jack Ruby. If you didn't know, and this is something we learned over the last couple of days, that Jack Ruby had been somebody that worked for Lyndon Johnson. He had worked for Richard Nixon, believe it or not. Sort of like a political, person. And he was also had worked and was running the casinos in New Orleans for the Chicago Mafia. And if you know the whole situation with Oswald, he was in New Orleans before he went to Dallas. Ford's handwritten notes were contained in 40,000 pages of records kept by J. Lee Rankin, chief counsel of the Warren Commission, and now made public by the Assassination Record Review Board, government agency. The staff of the commission had written, a bullet had entered his back at a point slightly above the shoulder and to the right of the spine, which is back here. Okay, a little bit over here, but it wasn't in the neck. The final report said a bullet had entered the base of the back of his neck, slightly to the right of the spine. Ford, then House Republican leader and later elevated to the presidency with the 1974 resignation of Richard Nixon, is the sole surviving member of the 7-member commission chaired by Chief Justice Earl Warren. James Lesser, a lawyer who runs the non-governmental Assassination Archive Research Center, said that both Ford's description and the commission staff's conflict with the Kennedy's death certificate, which said the bullet entered in the upper back region, well below the neck. Lawyer Gerald Posner, author of Case Closed, a 1993 book that accepts the Warren Commission's conclusions, said the death certificate was based on erroneous drawings by the doctors who performed an autopsy on Kennedy. So, in other words, I'll put the link in the description of this article, and you can read and check it out, but he tampered with evidence, because this is Ford. If he was shot in the back, and not shot in the neck, that is a major change to the autopsy. Because you had to prove, they had to prove that Oswald was the lone gunman, and that he was the one that took the shot from the Texas Book Depository. I would mention, Oswald was never identified as the shooter. No one ever identified him as the shooter in that building. A hitman, a criminal known as Malcolm Wallace, was identified by several witnesses that saw him shooting with a rifle, which was kind of forgotten about at the time. And a lot of this was taken by the Dallas police. So this stuff was known down there. It's interesting what would have happened if this situation happened today. We almost had that situation happen today with President Trump. But the information was coming out, and the problem is, and this is what we've heard, this is what soon to be the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, he has seen the information. He said the problem isn't that we don't know who the players are, we don't know who was behind it. The problem is sort of this collateral damage that was done after the fact. The silencing of witnesses mysteriously killing themselves, mysteriously dying, and this stuff went on for over a decade. Now, as far as 1971, there was at least 17 people that were murdered to keep them quiet, according to two confidants of Lyndon Baines Johnson, and at least 34 overall people that were killed. And like I said in the live stream, this also dragged in the presidency and dragged down the presidency of Richard Nixon, because Richard Nixon was digging into the JFK situation. So this was the thing that was really, it dragged down several presidencies, and you had a potentially very nasty individual skulking around the government, and George Bush. So that is something that we have to keep aware of. That's a possibility, but it's unconfirmed right now. But by March 9th, we will know everything. Everything we will know. But please, of course, subscribe to this channel. I'm going to have more stuff on this in the coming weeks, because this is going to culminate by March 9th, and there's going to be hearings. Representative Luna is going to have all these kind of hearings about President Kennedy, about Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., 9/11, what happened with Osama bin Laden, Epstein files, UFOs. Is going to be pretty big here. So you want to subscribe. I want to try to cover as much as I can over the next month and months, so we'll see. But of course, please hit the subscribe button. I'll get you more information. We'll do more live streams, because this is a small article. I could do stuff here, but I have more sort of archival stuff. Long readings to you. But this needs to be, we need justice finally in this situation. And that's what we want now. We want justice for President Kennedy and for the country, and possibility that an innocent man was killed too. Lee Harvey Oswald might have been an innocent man. That's also something to keep in mind with. So, an innocent man was accused of doing something that he said he didn't do, and but more importantly, the state of the country needs to be set right. We can't allow the government to tell us who our president is. Just because people in the bureaucracy don't like him. So, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to the Patriot Hut, and I'll see you later.